Oh, I sure do. And I remember just how thrilled you and I were when we finally broke into the 207s for lap times. And just looking at what these drivers are doing, they're all breaking into the 207s, 206s just on their first flying qualifying laps. It's pretty impressive. Chris Georgian-Dallas is a newcomer in his first Skippy Formula 2 race. He's setting some fast times. Scott Allen, another newcomer, also looking pretty racy. Nicholas Mazza. So it's just great to see newcomers to Skippy Formula 2, and it'll be really interesting to see what they can do. Yep, there's still 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. Drivers are allowed to set up to 4 flying laps, although realistically, I think if everything goes well, drivers will have only time to set at most 3 flying laps. Most of the drivers have completed 2 qualifying laps by now. But, you know, we've been noticing, Pim, during this qualifying session that the track looks super slick, and in checking the track info, it does look like the track is low usage, so there's very little rubber. It's not hot, it's only 85 degrees out on the track temp, but people are slipping and sliding all over the place, at least during this quali session, and you know, it'll be interesting for the first lap or two during the race to see if these guys can hold it together.
Yeah, and Peter, we're not here just for this race, it's a whole league. Let's have a look at the championship points, because currently we still have some people. We thought that Carter in our last race was going to lose a lot of points by not showing up, but we can clearly see over here with the drop freaks, he didn't lose that much, and he's on that first spot with 243 points. Behind him is Alan Paris, 223 points, 20 points behind. But you can score quite a bit of in this league. So I think everything is to play for. We shall have, I think, 4 more races. Am I correct in that?
3 more races, I believe, and so since this is race 10 in the 12 race season, and so I think Carter, may have used up his drop weeks by now. Maybe he has 1 more, but he'll certainly be feeling some pressure. He'll want a good showing here. But behind him, Alan Paris, Jake Ashe, Rusty Pottenberg are all in contention for the season championship still.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think that. And could it be Jake Ashe? I talked to him about this track, and I thought he was really good in our first season, but I looked it up and he was right. He had some incidents over there, but yeah, I'm curious. So would this be the season of Jake Ashe?
Well, he definitely has the speed to do it. And, you know, I think what Carter has been doing all season, though, is in every race, I think except one, he's just been absolutely rock solid steady. And, just finishing a string of top 5 and podium finishes all season long.
Yeah, I know it's going to be very interesting to see. And I do think we are gridding up. So let's have a quick look.
Wow, and look at these times. You know, Chris Daniel, Alan Paris, Scott Allen, Chris Georgian-Dallas, Carter Stickney as your top 5 qualifiers, all setting times in the mid-205s. Just outstanding, especially on a slick track like this.
Oh yeah, no, this is going to be a very interesting race. We're waiting for the last people to grid up. I thought it was going to be a bigger...
14 drivers in the grid, and it's really, I was reflecting, Pim, how much faster these drivers are in Skippy Formula 2 from the time that we raced in this series. Yeah, this is, I think, a good 2 seconds faster than the field.
Oh, no.
The last time we were racing here.
You want to say that I can't even join this race anymore?
Yeah, I can't either. It's pretty darn impressive. And actually, this goes for Skippy Formula One also. Just week by week, the improvements across the board. I mean, you and I even have improved by leaps and bounds during these seasons, but everyone else has as well. And it's a real testament to the development aspect of Sunday
no.
Night Skippy.
Definitely, I think Peter was saying it right in our last broadcast. Like, you have to, the level of experience, you have to go up. While we see everybody lining up, and we see that the engines are going on, lights are starting to go red, and it's green, lights are off, and immediately see Carter going past people over there.
Yeah, it looked
Had
like
a really good start.
Maybe had some issue there in the start, but looks like all the cars are away, and so this first lap, we'll really want to see. I think it'll be pretty treacherous, just given the slickness of the track.
A nice movement over there from Dan. Daniel is making some movement. Looks all very clean.
One of the cool things about Imola is it has some of the most pleasant sounding Italian words, names for all these corners. The hairpin's called Tosa, which is kind of fun to say.
Yeah, let's see if you can name them all in these two races, because we do have 2 races to go.
Yes, and then Acqua Minerale. Of course, I can't do the Italian accent as good as you can, Tim.
Why? Because I'm European. That's no excuse. Oh, we see Carter Stickney.
In Acqua Minerale, looks like we do have. Carter Stickney. Looks like he binned his car and is in tow. That's really unfortunate.
That was an accident with impact. I think Jake Ashe was also involved in it in a little bit, but he can continue.
Boy, this has really significant season championship implications. Carter right off the bat getting into trouble. In fact, I'm not even seeing Carter in tow now. I wonder if in fact he had some technical issue, possibly.
It seems that he's directly out.
Yeah, there may be an internet issue there, and so Chris Georgian-Dallas is in the pits, and so he may have been caught up in something there as well.
Yeah, but let's focus on that first 2. We have Chris Daniel and Alan Paris. You remember last time when they were running all together, and suddenly Chris Daniel got that pit penalty.
Yes.
It looks like they're doing a similar thing over here, trying to run away immediately from Scott Allen and Carl McCormick. And behind there is Michael Smith, really close in there.
And then another group of 3 right behind them, Nicholas Mazza, Daniel Pagowski, and Jake Ashe running P6, 7, and 8. And then right behind them, another group of tight group of 4, with Rich Butler running in P9, followed by Alex Ocon, Barry Stockdale, and Joe Zubo. So on the Discord for the Sunday Night Skippy League this week, there was a lot of discussion about off-track slowdown penalties and this corner, this chicane here called Alta, and the perennial question of whether you need to be in monster truck mode to kind of cut the corner there. And I think the track updates have really changed the calculation there, and I'm really anxious to see in Skippy Formula One what the top 10 drivers are going to do in that chicane.
Now, while we're looking up here with Dan Pagowski, Jake Ashe, and Nicholas Mazza, who is really looking on the inside of Jake, But on the moment, it's a no-go. But here we go on that straight. It's going to be a lot of draft. Jake takes a different line. He's going on that inside already.
This is one of those long straights where drafting really works, but when you are a sitting duck there, which pretty much you are, it's a little scary because you do kind of get pinched since it's not a straight.
No, and I do see that Jake has a trouble over here with that car.
Yeah.
Carl McCormick was right in there, and that's really good to see. Look at that, 4 of them.
Wow.
Carl McCormick doesn't give up, stays on the inside over there. Oh, Nicholas Mazza.
Yeah.
Look over there, a little bit of the outside line, but his car looks okay. So he comes back onto the track, but we have 4 people left over here.
Yeah, it looks like no contact, so that's good on him. Boy, there is quite the train of cars starting P5, led by Dan Pagowski, and then followed by Kyle McCormick, Jake Ashe, Rich Butler, and Alex Elthon.
It's going on quite over there. And I'm not sure Jake is running a different line. He's losing a little bit of contact with Kyle. But right behind him, Rich Butler, Alex Elthon, Barry Stockdale, even Joey Zubo.
Yeah. If you can't, shake someone out of your draft in the backside of the track here, then when you come around to the front, like right now, coming around Rivazza with Chris Daniel and Alan Paris in the lead, it'll be really, really hard for Chris Daniel to hold his lead position here as they come out of Rivazza into this front straight. But it looks like Alan did not get close enough, and so as they come into Tamburello, they maintain their 1-2 positions.
Yeah, and pretty much the same fight is going on over there in the back with Michael Smith and Scott Allen. Looking really close, and after that is the big fight for basically rest of the pack.
It looked like Barry Stockdale went off in Tamburello.
Oh, I see. And we see also Jake Ashe passing Kyle McCormick right over there. Rich Butler is looking to do the exact same thing, and Alex Elton is running behind that as well.
Pim, I don't know how you think about this, but, all of that kind of battling there is making that group of cars from kind of P5 to P9 lose touch a little bit with the top 4. And, in a fairly long race like this with 2 pit stops, you wonder if they showed a little bit more patience, which I know is really hard to do, especially when it's group of 5
You're going to
cars.
say that Jake Ashe is coming in, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I see what you're saying.
Yep.
Well, we're going to look out for that one.
In fact, for Jake, the pit window is definitely open.
Yeah, because he's not being faster over here, but he is passing Daniel, making a really nice move on that outside. Can he keep that moving? Looks like it. Daniel's defending hard on that inside, but Jake has a really nice smooth line over here and can go on the outside. It's way more speed, and Kyle McCormick follows him quite nicely. That's going to cost Daniel maybe even more, because Rich Butler is right behind there. He's taking that spot. And I think Alex is going to do the exact same thing.
Daniel's just out on an island without the help of a draft. But, here you see that it's a little bit of a wiggly straight.
All right,
So-
I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I'm not sure what's going to happen over here. Look at this, side by side. And currently, Kyle McCormick wins.
Cleaner than Lewis and Max through there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a little bit more respect over here than in the Formula One. Look at this.
Yeah.
Nicely run. And I know this is a really interesting fight, but I don't want to give up on Alan Paris and Chris Daniel, because Chris Daniel is really running fast times. His best time on his last lap was a 2:05.6. So he really makes quite a bit of distance now, even on Alan Paris. He's out of the draft.
That is awesome.
And Scott Allen and Michael Smith have their own little race over here. This turn is so difficult. And we see that Michael Smith had some issues, but keeps his car straight in the line. Right behind Scott Allen.
Yeah, that Alta chicane, I think the hardest thing about it is consistency. I don't know about you, Pim, but every time I go through that, I feel like it's a different experience.
Yeah, for
just
me,
hard.
Yeah, for me that was all set up. I really changed my car to make that jump, because that's what you have to do if you want to win time over there. But here on that long straight, we have Michael Smith going really fast. Takes as much draft as he can. Is he going to place it? Oh, he's going to place it on the outside. Interesting move. He's going to go on the outside. Michael Smith defends really hard. Oh, they don't touch. And oh, we see Alan Paris splitting up over here.
Yep.
And immediately.
Coming out of Tamburello.
Well, he keeps his car clean, but immediately Scott Allen and Michael Smith take advantage of that. And then that fight for third is suddenly a second position worth.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an unusual place where Alan spun there. But you almost wonder if he just caught too much of that curb coming in. But that gives Chris Daniel just a lot of clear space. He's almost 5 seconds up now on Scott Allen and Michael Schmidt.
And here you can actually see that difference, that 4.7 seconds.
It's interesting, just watching this train of Jake Oshay, Kyle McCormick, Dan Pagowski, and Rich Butler. And Jake's running a little bit of a different race than he normally does. And in fact, he's closing in. He's almost within striking distance of catching Alan Paris's draft. That might coax him into staying out longer if he can do that.
Yeah, and it's also he finished that fight with Kyle McCormick. It looks like he's really running away from that group.
Yeah.
So he has his fresh air where he can run in. And we see the first going into the pits.
Yep, Chris Daniel and Michael Schmidt, both, and Alan Paris. Jake Oshay, Kyle McCormick, all coming in for the first fuel stops. Alex Othan, Nicholas Massa, and Barry Stockdale.
So suddenly we have a different race. We see Dan Pagowski together with Rich Butler fighting for that second position. And Joe is also suddenly moved up 7 positions on that fourth up here.
Yep, and Scott Allen's running now in the lead. Dan Pagowski is up 11 spots from where he qualified now. That's really great.
But it is, of course, the pit stops that do that trick.
Sure.
I am curious to see it. Look at the times. Then we see that Jake did 11.2 seconds together with Alan Paris, and Chris Daniel and Michael Smith were a little bit slower in that way. So that could be also interesting to see what Scott Allen is going to do right now. We've seen everybody going into the pit.
Yeah. Well, Chris Daniel actually lengthened the cars that made their first fuel stops, Chris Daniel actually came out with a little bit bigger lead now, about 8.5 seconds up on Michael Schmidt. And Chris and Michael running P5 and P6.
And it's a nice fight between Daniel Pogowski and Rich Butler over here for that second position. But they also have to go into the pit, and that's going to be dangerous when you're in this fighting mode. So close together. We see Scott Allen going into the pit. Are these guys going to follow? They see that the leader is into the pit. Yes, and they both go in. Rich is nicely pacing off Daniel. Joe also goes in.
Yeah, and so Chris Daniel is rounding Ravazza right now, turn 15, and on the front straight. And so it looks like he'll easily regain his P1 position.
He comes over the line right now and runs a smooth line. That was a 2:05.6.
Scott Allen does come out out of the pits ahead of Michael Schmidt, but Michael Schmidt has a full head of steam. And
that's going to be an interesting fight over here.
Yep.
He can't make it. Right behind there, we also have an interesting fight with Jake, Chris, and Alan Paris. Look at Alan Paris, how quickly he came back from that pretty hard crash.
Yeah. Oh, and looks like Barry Stockdale has had another off-track issue in Tamburello. But no damage, he's actually back up to speed.
All right, we're driving along with Alex Olton and Rich Butler right behind him. And Nicholas Matza should be there as well. I don't see him right now. He's 6 seconds behind. But Daniel is leading this pack. Daniel Pogowski, an old-timer in Formula 2.
It's really interesting how kind of punched up the bulk of this field is. It just shows you how powerful the draft is. Very hard to lose people.
Well, you said that I took up the track map, and it's absolutely true. It's just still one big track. Chris Daniel is right on top of there. While we see that, we see Scott Allen defending, but not defending hard enough, and Michael Smith takes that position already over here.
Yep. Yeah, that braking zone, that's a good prime passing opportunity, but it's so hard because it's a pretty steep downhill. And it feels slightly off camber when you're just initiating that turn-in. I find it really, really difficult.
I find the worst part is that you win over there and then you lose the draft up here. So they're all coming straight back, and now it's going to be difficult because there's someone pushing behind you and you want to go into that corner. You don't want to give the inside, but you want to stay on the outside as much as possible.
Yeah, yep. Well, it looks like Chris Georgian-Dallas is in for his second pit stop. And yeah, for sure the window is open for the second fueling. All right, so it looks like, we are starting to break into...
Karl McCormick! And immediately Daniel Pogowski takes off that.
Wow.
I'm curious here how it's going to go on the other side. Karl McCormick saves that position quite well. But can he hold it over here? Because the inside line is so difficult.
Yeah.
This looks for painful. This looks for, oh no, he's gonna slot right behind Daniel Pogowski.
They pair around Piratella and then try to get into Aqua Minerale. There aren't two lines there.
No, definitely not.
So Dan Pogowski has the position going around Aqua Minerale and going up the hill to the Alta chicane.
Yeah, and that fight with Michael Smith and Scott Allen, that's also still not finished. See Scott Allen here passing really easily. I think Michael is giving it them over here. He wants to run away from Jake Ashe and Alan Paris, who are coming really close over there. You see them in the back over there.
I am really digging this battle for P7 between Kyle McCormick, Daniel Pagowski, and Rich Butler. They are really going at it with each other.
They keep coming back, yeah. Daniel keeps coming back over here. Look at this. Up in the draft. And Rich says, I'm going to join you. It's a long straight. Oh, and here you want to see that corner, but it's not there yet. Rich is going to have a look. Daniel's comfortable, can go to the outside line, take the best possible exit over here. And here goes Kyle again. Oh, this is a difficult one. This is a difficult one. Is Kyle going to do that? No, I don't think he's going to do that. He's just making Daniel a little bit worried.
Yeah, and then when they come around Tosa here, I think at this point, from here all the way up to Alta, it's pretty hard to find passing opportunities.
All right, let's have a quick look because Jake has made already some way, but Michael Smith is really close to Scott Allen. Everybody has done a pit stop. I'm curious about the timings. Let's have a quick look. We see everybody around the same timings.
Yes.
12, 13 seconds. We see Alex Alton in 10 seconds. So he was a bit quicker. And we will see that back in the second pit stops.
You know, going all the way back up to P1, Chris Daniel is just pounding up the laps. His last lap was a 2:05.1. And so now he's stretched out a more than 10-second lead over Scott Allen and Michael Schmidt.
Yeah, and the lucky thing is he has already been into the pit stop. So we've done that difficult part. He's not going to get a penalty for that one. He just needs to do it one more time. But it's not about his speed. He can take it quite easily.
Right.
Oh, by the way, let's do a 2:04.99. Chris Daniel is officially an alien. Oh, and Jake Ashe said, I can do that too.
Yeah.
2:04.8.
Yeah, I think they're laying some rubber down finally. You know, the track was set at low usage coming in, and man, all of these guys were just sliding off track during quali, even just on their out laps. But looks like they're pretty comfortable with the track now.
Yeah, Michael Schmidt is hitting himself. He should have attacked a little bit more because he sees now that Jake Ashe he's there. This is not a two-man's battle anymore. This is a three-man's battle. And look out, Alan Perrins is right behind there as well. This is going to be an interesting race.
Yeah.
Not over yet.
Yep, 12 minutes left, so maybe about 6-7 laps, depending on when Chris Daniel manages to finish this lap. And yeah, it's we've still got these tight packs. Scott Allen, Michael Schmidt, Jake Ashe, Alan Paris in one pack, and then right behind them, Dan Pagowski, Kyle McCormick, Rich Butler, Alex Othon, and another pack.
Oh, there's something wrong with Michael Schmidt. Something wrong with Michael Schmidt.
I wonder, that kind of looked like he missed a shift. Something.
There was something wrong in front of it. We didn't call that out. He did save his car quite nicely, but he is out of that race. And that means big points for Jake Ashe. We see Carter Stickney doesn't make it in this race. Well, if Jake keeps it up here, then him and Alan Paris are going to do really well.
Yeah, that was kind
Chris
of
Daniel is in the pits. Jake Ashe is in the pits.
Yes. They're just in for their final fuel top-ups. These should be pretty quick. Just a splash.
Yeah, and then we
leaders.
see Rich Butler right behind there as well with Alex Alton. And Alex will probably need to do a little bit more. I'm very curious who comes out over there.
No penalty for Chris Daniel. He's rolling out of the pits.
And how far is Jake behind him? Because Jake is also already going. Jake is coming out the pit right now.
Yeah, coming out, what, about 9.5 seconds behind. So again, a really great stop for Chris Daniel.
So, Alan Paris, Michael Smith, what are they going to do?
And Michael Schmidt, that group of cars, Michael Schmidt, Dan Pagasa, Calvin Clark, that's just relentless. They're,
How did Michael Smith come back to there? He made over there a big crash and he saved his car, and he's now fighting again with Dan Pagowski and Cal McCarnick, who is right over there as well. And this is for number 3.
it'll be interesting to see. I think we might expect Scott Allen and Alan Paris, our P1 and P2 drivers, possibly to be coming into the pits this time around or the next. Looks like Scott's staying out, and so is Alan.
And what is Michael Smith then going to do together with Daniel Pagowski? Both staying out.
Yes. And Kyle McCormick, on the other hand, he does go in for the fuel stop.
Together with Nicholas Matza.
Yep. You know, this is something, Pim, that I still have never wrapped my head around, because, you know, these undercut strategies on a draft track like this, you know, especially when you have the draft, I always, it never computes for me. But you do see it work sometimes.
Yeah, I'm no Pete. Sorry, I have no clue how these things work. I have a little machine, I bought it, and I'm waiting till it beeps, and then I go into the pit.
Yeah.
I just need to drive. I'm not a tactical driver.
So Chris Daniel's in the pit. Why is Chris Daniel in the pit?
No, not again. Did he have a penalty driving out? He had a penalty driving out. We see it all over again. Deja vu, is that what we call it?
I cannot believe it.
Amazing. So that means that Jake Ashe is really coming back strong now.
I wonder if Chris Georgian-Dallas also had an issue there, because he is in for a splash and out, but that's his third stop.
I'm a little bit confused who is now the real leader, because I know Scott
Yeah.
Allen didn't pit. Let's have a quick look at the pit stops, because
I think
wanna
it's Jake Ashe. I think Jake Ashe.
yeah, Jake Ashe is the
the
leader
lead.
over here.
Yeah.
Has Rich Butler right behind him. Or right behind him.
You know,
A 4-second lead. Jake Ashe is the leader.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Are you or I guilty of any broadcaster curse there? Were we talking about
I don't
Chris
feel
Daniels
guilty at all.
hitting? Okay.
We told him he did it right the first time. I have no idea how he can do it wrong in the second time.
Scott
But,
Allen, Harris, Michael Schmidt are in the pits for their second stops.
So what's
Hello.
Joe Zubo gonna do? It's a beautiful car. I love that paint.
Yeah, he's got a great.
And he's going in. So we
Yep.
have officially a new leader who is driving.
Well, Dan Pagowski, true to form, is out. You know, if Dan is trying again to do a one-stop strategy, I'm really going to be rooting for him. Because how many times has he tried this? 2 or 3 times.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Daniel is going. Jake is just passing them. Oh, this is going to be an interesting race with Scott Allen. Oh, no, no, no! Come on, Jake. He keeps it safe. All right, nothing wrong. He's not going to give up this spot right now, but probably needs to.
Scott Allen, yeah, Scott Allen kind of really got all the momentum. Jake just lost all momentum, so Scott Allen and Alan Paris got around.
But what a save from Jake Ashe. I thought he was gone over there. I would have never made that.
Boy, this is a real knife fight for the win, assuming that Dan Pegowski still needs to fuel. But, you know, we've seen it. We've seen Dan Pegowski just try to stay.
No, this is not possible. Ian made a joke, I think, about it, that is one pit stop, but it's not possible. 35 minutes, you can't drive on. He was in traffic, but not that much.
You know, if Dan Pegowski were 2.5 seconds slower at Mid-Ohio, he would have done it. So, I don't know. It's, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, look at this. He's going in. He's going in.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
He's
then,
making a lot of breaks over there. Yeah, then the next group is Scott Allen, Alan Paris, and Jake Ashe. Jake, who was leading this group, has lost it temporarily, but still in the fight. And everybody took a pit stop, so we don't have to wait for that anymore.
right. And so Dan Pegowski is released from his pit box, and this will be close, but I think...
No, Scott Allen is going to make that.
Jake Ashe, I think they'll all get past.
Yeah, they have so much speed over here in that first corner.
Yeah.
We still don't see...
Even Michael Schmidt is going to have a lot more momentum there coming into Tamburello.
But what happened to Jake Ashe? Because he really lost over here.
Yeah.
We see Michael Schmidt fighting together with Dan Pegowski.
Well, newcomer Scott Allen in the lead with just 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, and with Alan Paris right behind you. What about that? That's going to be an interesting fight.
Oh, looks like Michael Schmidt went off in Tosa. And I can't quite tell if he's damaged or not.
No, his car looks quite okay. Let's have a quick look what he did. He just overcooked it over there on that exit.
Yeah.
And then he tries to go really hard back and has no grip anymore on that outside and spins. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, if you stay on the inside, you get that little groove there, and it's actually not a difficult corner, but if you miss that, then it's just so slick.
All right, Peter, we're in for those last few moments. We see Scott Allen is getting caught up by Alan Paris, but it is very slow. We only have 3 more laps to go.
And Michael Schmidt went off in Aqua Minerale and binned his car, so he's in tow right now.
I'm just really curious if Alan Paris will come back to this. Otherwise, we still have a nice fight over here with Rich Butler, Kyle McCormick, and Alex Olton. Everything to gain for.
Yeah, I believe this is this the white flag lap? I think it must be.
Yes, it is. It is. You're right. So this is going to be all to play for.
There's battle for P5. Looks like Kyle McCormick kind of went off. They were 3 wide coming into Tamburello, and Kyle McCormick had to go way off track to save the car.
But Kyle McCormick is right back over here, so don't worry. That's a very interesting to see. But I do want to go up to the front if this is the last number, because look at this. Scott Allen. Really solid drive. His last lap was a 2:05.4. I've never made it into the 205s. This is excellent work.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and really great to see newcomers like this come into the league. It's Aqua Minerale. Just want to be careful here. There's a really bad slowdown if you overcook it.
Yeah, but he has 4.5 seconds on Alan Paris. He's not going to give that up anymore.
Rich Butler has taken the lead in that pack, fighting for P5.
Oh, they're not done fighting. That's going to be an interesting one. You see, Alex Holton is going to take that last move over here. You better wait.
Yep.
Scott Allen is in that last 2 corners.
I think Rich Butler did he get a slowdown there, or it looks like he might be all right?
I'm seeing here that I see even Jake Ashe coming up. I think Alan
Rich
Paris
Butler, on the exit of Alta.
But here we go, Scott Allen over the finish line. Awesome job. Wow.
Yeah.
Really nice work.
Yep.
We have Jake Ashe on the 2nd position, Daniel Pagowski on the 3rd. We have Alan Paris.
Running out of fuel, or I think he's coasting across the line. Yep. It looked like Alan was stuttering on low fuel.
And what about our new guy, Chris Girondales?
Yep.
Had some difficulties in this first, but he's finished it. Always the first step in this league, finish a race. And he's done that up here on the 9th position.
Yeah, Nicholas Mazza, also a new guy, finishing P8, just ahead of him.
Good old Joe comes over the line as well.
And then Chris Daniel, boy, these pit penalties are just crushing. And now two weeks in a row for Chris.
And look at that! Here they are standing all for the memorial of Senna. So it's one of those times where they don't crash, but they actually are looking around. Awesome to see that.
Yeah, just for viewers who don't know, Tamburello is the site where Ayrton Senna went off and died, and that actually sparked the creation of this chicane here. That chicane, Tamburello was just a sweeping left-hander, but now it's variante, which is the Italian word for chicane, the Tamburello chicane. And what a great show of respect.
So this was an interesting race with Scott Allen. Congratulations on that first place. Jake Ashe, really well done. Didn't expect that. In the last lap he was going as a firecracker, and he was on that 2nd position. And Daniel Pagowski on the 3rd spot. Awesome results. Great to see that.
Well, Dan Pagowski up 10 spots from where he qualified. That's I guess he gets the Hard Charger Award for the race today.
Oh no, definitely. And now, normally we're gonna say goodbye to you, and you're gonna go off to the Formula 2 race. But tonight is different. You're joining us.
Yeah, I decided. I've had a little bit of bad luck in the races, and so I thought maybe I just need a 1-week break and focus on the Nürburgring next week. So I'll be happy to join you for the Gippy Formula 1 race broadcast.
I was just thinking, there's no break for you, mate. We're just going to continue, and we're going to be back in a couple of more minutes. Going to take a little bit of a break, and we guys will see you at 9 o'clock at the race of Formula 1. All right, welcome back at another race in our Imola up here for our Formula One. Peter, how exciting are you for this race?
Oh, I can hardly wait to see what happened. We just got done watching the Skippy Formula 2 race, and wow, there was just no way to predict what was going to happen. What a crazy finish to that race, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same thing in Skippy Formula 1, but with more than twice as many cars.
Well, twice as many cars, but I do have to say that we also got some help here in the broadcast. Ian, welcome to our broadcast. Great to see you up here. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. We had a great evening. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join with the SF2 race, but I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into the SF1 race because I'm watching these times, and it's going to be a shake-up.
Oh, definitely. Have you mean that alien that has landed in this Imola?
Yeah, I mean it's like there are our usual front runners are almost a second down on his warm-up time. So we're gonna have to see what happens here.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. The top 19 drivers right now in the practice session are all in the 203s.
203s. That's amazing. And then
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that first driver. We have many discussions already about how do you pronounce his name. I'm going for Leo Oktavarov, and he produced a 201.8. Have you ever seen something going that quick?
No, not in the Skippy around here. I mean, that really is a pretty phenomenal lap, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what his qualifying is going to look like, where he sits. If he doesn't qualify right up at the top, there's going to be a lot of driving all the way through the pack as we come up to the end of the practice session.
Yeah, 201.8 is just crazy. You would not think the Skip Barber Formula 2000 car is capable of that at all.
Yeah, and his nearest rival is Pete Mabrotten, who is 9/10ths down on him, almost a full second, 9.8 behind him, almost a complete second down on him. So, it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
Leo,
one thing
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the track is very cool, so that's one mitigating factor. Track temp is only 71 degrees Fahrenheit, and so that's great for these cars. And but still, I mean, no amount of cool track is going to turn anyone into a 201 lapper here.
No, and I mean, it's Imola, right? It's high speed straights with twisty bits thrown in to slow you down. What would you say? Sort of medium fast corners, most of them, I guess we would say.
Yep.
So again, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Leo's pretty new to the league. Is he good on all of the tracks, or does he have some tracks where he really shines? I don't know. We'll have to see as we go through all of this stuff. But I mean, right now he really is. He is the man to beat as it stands right now in terms of the actual race. Because he started late in the season, he's not really in the season lead laps in the season standings. But next season, I think he will be challenging for first place.
Yeah, and I want to make a great segue to the official standings, because if you see how close it is, we see Pete Mabrotten on the first place with 248 points, which is a lot of points. Let's be fair. But then we see Carl Dronke just 1 point less, and then Mike Bowers is sharing that position on the second spot, also with 1 point. So it's really close up here. Everything still to gain for. After that, Michael Howenick, I think it's his first season up here in this league. He is doing really well. Adam Wright, normally top 10, is in that top 5, but I definitely see him winning once in this race. And after that, we see Peter Notwell, Jossa Dancing, Jeffrey Decker, and also Gurken de Meer. Gurken de Meer, who had that terrible accident in, what was it, Red Bull ring, where he dropped out in the last corner with a blue screen of death. Horror stories. But he is in the top 10, so looks good. And there's also GR Hoops in the top 10. So everything still to play for, with maximum of 50 points in between those people. And as on the 10th position, the last one is Scott Bell. I hope Sarah is watching and sees him right over there. Curious how much he practiced. But that's our complete list over here. So a lot more people over here. I'm not going to call them all out, but yeah, we have a lot of competitors going on.
Yeah. It's gonna be a wild ride, I think, and I'm actually watching Leo at the moment, just to sort of get an idea of what his lap times are going to be, as he is coming down towards the end of his first flying lap.
So guys, what about the temperature? It's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. European. How is that for this track?
It certainly makes it a lot easier to drive.
Yeah, but we are still seeing quite a bit of slickness because the track is low usage right now, so there's not much rubber laid down, especially for this qualifying session. But yeah, Ian, I agree with you. I think the low track temp is going to be very, very helpful once this field gets a few laps laid down. Yeah.
And we're starting to get some times on the board. And surprise, Leo is at the top of the timesheet with a 2:03.4. And Decker is right behind him with a 2:03.5. Snavely, Wright, Valerino, Mabrotten, Bowers, Herrera, Clark, and Dewar round out your top 10.
Yeah, so how do you guys do that in that qualification? You have 4 laps. Ian, how do you prepare yourself? Are you going all out in your second lap?
Yeah, well, I mean, your first lap is just kind of starting to get the tires warmed up, lots of swerving across the track, to try and build as much heat into the tires as you can. Your second lap really isn't going to give you that much more. I mean, it really is, while it's a fast lap, you're really trying to make sure you get at least one in the bag. So you're a bit more cautious and you're still getting those tires up to temperature. But your third, and if you can do it, your fourth laps, they really are the ones where you're pushing, because you've banked something, you've got at least a time on the board, and now you really start to shove the car to see if you can put something down that's really quick.
And you, Peter, how do you manage that in qualification?
Yeah. Well, I think realistically you can only get 3 laps in. This is a big track, 3 flying laps in. And so I am just like what Ian said. You try to use the first lap to get the tires up to temperature. Second lap, at least for me, is a quote-unquote safe lap. And then if I get that in the bag, then I go all out and take a few chances for that third lap.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that. Most of my problems lies down in the last corner, where I make a mistake in the first lap. So my second lap is also bad. And then there's so much pressure on lap 3 that I make a mistake and I always end up in the back, which is probably also where I'm going to end up. But I always feel very bad about that part. It's very difficult to keep that concentration. And while I'm talking, we see Gurken de Meer on the 4th position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pete's jumped up into P2 with a 2:03.34, which is very good.
Yeah, I've seen Pete drive in the practice race on I think it was Wednesday. He was awful fast, and he had to do this reversed race, so he had to come all the way from the back. But he was quite quick in handling that traffic. He's also quite used to those kind of things. I mean, I'm curious. We have seen Leo only on the front, so I'm curious how he is in traffic.
Well, the other thing is this race is going to be a very strategic race as well, because we've got such long straights. You've got to stay in the draft of the person in front of you to have any hope of keeping up. You get a draft train going and you fall off the back of it, you're done. You've got to be there. You've got to be in the draft. So you're going to see cars really working hard to race closely with each other. I guess the key really is, keep it smooth, keep it swift.
Yeah, boy, I think that's absolutely right, Ian. And actually, we saw that last week at Snetterton 300. Another track with some really long straights, and just how important it was to kind of get those really good corner exits out onto those straights. And the same thing here, like out of turn 15, out of Rivazza, you come out into the front straight. It's just so important to get all the speed you can coming out of that straight. I am looking at just watching the cars go around for their qualifying. I'm seeing quite a few off tracks, quite a few spins, and so just like we saw in the Skippy Formula 2 race, I think the fact that there's not much rubber laid down on this track is catching some people out. And
hey guys,
yep.
Sorry, I do want to see some names coming up. I see Edwin Valerino, position 10. That's not normally where we see him. And then right behind there, Jonathan Dockery. We had that nice interview last time, and he really make it worth. He's up there all to play for.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Decker's just taken P2 with a 2.0. What did he have? A 2.0.
203.0.
Yeah. Leo's now turned in a 202.9. In fact,
so he's only a tenth. So Decker's only a tenth off of Leo. So that's good.
Yeah. Yep.
This is amazing. These guys are so fast. Look at that. All those times.
Boy, Pim, remember, a couple seasons ago when we were new to this league and we were in Skippy Formula 2 and we were so thrilled to break into 207s? You remember that?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, what is the AQT for this one? Because it seems to be that we're having the top of the Skippies up here. These guys all run fast. Look at this. We have from position number 20, Benjamin Harris. Tries a 204.7. Then you're on position number 12. 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even the slowest position, and I think we're done.
We're done.
That's it.
So there'll be
Right, just have a quick look on that qualification. We see Leo Oktarov on the first position, Jeffrey Decker number 2nd. I'm really curious about that fight. Will it continue like last time, or will Jeffrey bring some more to the table? We have Adam Wright on the 3rd position and Pieper Rotten right over there. I think he lost the other Pete's and he's now really in this top position. Michael Hounik on the 5th. Edwin Valerino has made a lot of spots up and is currently on that 6th position. Jeffrey Snaley, Chris Herrera, Gurkan Demir on position number 9. Root for him always. Mike Bowers on the 10th position. Awesome to see him over there. We have Carl Dronkane, position number 11. Peter Notwell on number 12. And let's roll the next ones up here. See if we can...
Jonathan Dockery's in 13, Spencer Clark in 14, Steve Dewar in 15, J.R. Hoops in 16, Rusty Pointerberg in 17, Scott Bell in 18, Lyndall McMurphy in 19, Benjamin Harris is in 20, and then you've got Sean Tradiak, Andrew Cole, Jack Moffat, Aaron Lahr, Matt Repetska, Dan Pogowski, a new name to me, Gregor Klingman, Charlie McCarthy, Brian Perez, Rich Butler, Jake Ashe, Kyle McCormick, Jason Bice. Is Jason racing?
No, Jason is not racing anymore.
Yeah.
And I do wanna make a correction on that name. It's not Gregory Klingman. It's Sir Gregory Klingman. I'm not sure how important that is, but seems to be we have a real gentleman in this race.
And can you believe this? The top 28 qualifiers all qualified in the 205s or faster.
I know, it's really crazy.
Mind-blowing. Wow.
So guys, they're now doing the briefer meeting. What's most of the times discussed in these meetings for people who just tuned in, have no idea how these kind of races go?
Well, there are special rules that the Sunday Night Skippy League uses, and Sunday Night Skippy actually has active stewarding. Stewarding, if you're new to racing, is racing's name for refereeing or officiating. And so, for example, one of the biggest differences here is that in overtaking attempts, so-called dive bombs aren't allowed. So if you're the car behind another car trying to make a pass going into a corner, in order to have corner rights, your front axle must be at or past the rear axle of the car you're trying to pass. If you don't have that, you actually have to cede the space for that corner to the car ahead. And so not doing that is technically called a dive bomb, and that's strictly not allowed in this league. So that's an example of a rule that's special to this league that all the drivers are briefed at before every race.
Well, and the briefing has finished. Well, I do see in the chat that we see Jeff Torbeck not up here. Would have expected him at least to come into the booth, but we'll forgive him for this time. Also, Max Di Giacomo. His last name is always
yes, Max
difficult for me. He is working, but I'm glad that he at least tuned in. We're going to see an awesome race. I'm a little bit afraid for that first chicane. With so many cars.
Boy, with Leo, Jeffrey, Adam, Pete going into Tamburello right off the start, it'll be incredible to watch.
Right, the lights are going to the red and it is green. So here we go. Look at that. It's like a zipper they come all together.
Looks like they're going to enter Tamburello largely in single file, which is very good and safe.
Yeah, and you get that concertina effect as they all sort of slow to go around the corners and they all sort of catch up with each other.
And it seems that they're all through that first corner really well.
Yep. Another concertina effect's coming into the Tosa hairpin, turn 7.
Yeah, and you already see the front pack of Ovacharov, Decker and Wright, and Pete as well a little bit. That's already starting to gap out from some of the other racers.
So now they're coming around Curatella and into Acqua Minerale, and this is always on lap 1 where you see at least someone go off. We'll see if this field can get through here safely. Boy, it is so impressive just to see this long string of cars come through like this.
Absolutely. What a beautiful view.
Yeah.
I think we might have some background music going on at the moment as well, which is only adding to the amazing atmosphere.
Look, the entire field got through Acqua Minerale. Now they're making their way through the Alta chicane. Huge subject of discussion all week in the league Discord, that chicane.
So how was that again? How many skippies? How do you call a group of skippies?
Slam.
Well, they make a lot of noise.
And they're all going around Rivazza and onto the front straight.
And why do we see Chris Herrera going in? Did he got a penalty? Was there a penalty?
He must have a drive-through. I can't imagine otherwise. Yes.
Yep, and Decker has taken the lead. Just jumped over into the lead. Yep. Drafted nicely past over.
Yeah, Leo Ovcharov, yes.
Ovcharov, yeah. Now again, this is the whole thing. Again, now, where do you want to sit, right? If you're sitting in second, third, fourth, even fifth, you're just cruising along, 2/3 throttle. Oh! And we have Adam Wright making a big mistake there and losing his position, dropping way down into, oh my gosh, he's now down into 13th, 14th, 15th position as he gets himself going again. Wow.
Yeah, Scott Bell is passing him right now, and Rusty is looking into that as well. That was a big mistake, but his car is clean, so
Yeah.
I think there is still some opportunities.
But it's gapped out the front four a little bit, where Pete McBroughton had to brake and do a little bit of avoidance, and just dropped him back a little bit off the back of Leo O. For those of you who like me to try and say the names and complain that I'm not saying the names, we're trying.
Jason Bice is in the booth.
Hello, hello.
Jason.
Hey
How are you
Jason,
guys?
great to see you. Well, on the moment we're watching a very exciting race where Jeffrey Decker has taken the lead from Leo Oktarov, and Pete McBroughton is in third position, so good old times. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was a little late jumping into the broadcast, but I saw Pete's overtake for third. Yeah, great overtake there.
Looks like Jack Moffat had an issue in Rivazza, but just a little bit got sideways, but no contact. But he's fallen down to P31.
I'm looking currently at Jess Snaley, who has had a big fight with Gurken de Meer. And currently, Jeffrey is really taking the lead in that pack.
And just to Ian's earlier point on the front straight, Leo Ovtcharov, overtook Jeffrey Decker, and I guess you might expect Jeffrey to get that position back the next time around. So, Jason, while you were out, we were just marveling at the lap times of these top 20, but in particular during the practice session, Leo Ovtcharov was in the 201s.
Yeah, it's actually been a couple of seasons since I drove Imola in the Skippy, and I think I had one lap that I got into the 201s, and it was in more favorable conditions than what they have now. So that's a very impressive time, to say the least. But to your earlier point, I would expect Leo and Jeffrey and Pete to work together and try to create some distance. They have Michael Hownick right behind them, and then Edwin right behind him. So we really have a pack of five now, with Snavely doing his level best to catch up. I suspect that he will, as they get a little bit of an accordion effect going into some of these corners. Jeff will probably close that gap down. And we all know that he's a pretty quick driver, and as I said that, he closed it down. So he's pretty much part of that train now, and he has somebody on his heels. He has Gherkin on his heels, who has Mike Bowers on his heels, who has Carl on his heels. So I think this front train's about ready to get real long real quick.
Well, I'm staking out some surveillance of the trains further back, and just noticing this kind of group of people, with Rusty Pottenberg, Gregor Klingman, Charlie McCarty, Andrew Cole. They're all kind of dicing back and forth there, and it's. I guess they have to decide whether they want to battle or try to stay, work together and stay in the lead pack.
Yeah, we're seeing that at the front too. As you were saying that, there was definitely some battling going on up at the front, whether that was miscommunication, people trying to decide who's going to take the lead, or actual fights for position. It's tough to say. But that indecision can be very costly, as it does allow people behind to catch up.
It looks like we have almost sort of two distinct trains now, with Dockery leading the back train and Leo leading the front train.
Yeah, John was saying during the practice session, he had told everybody that he had planned on qualifying somewhere between 15th and 20th, but here he is sitting in P10. So probably a surprise for him, and just a few mistakes up front could help him close that gap down.
Yeah, and there's a third train now led by Aaron Law and Andrew Cole, starting at P18. working back. Did notice that both Jack Moffitt and Matt Shupka had off-track spins, and so they're trying to catch back up there. And they're running in P33 and 34.
Yeah, cold tires in the Skippy at Imola is a real tough combination, particularly through T9 and T10, which we know is Aqua Minerale, as well as getting over the chicane quickly in turns of 11 and 12. When I say over, deliberately, not through, because in the Skippy, if you want to be fast, you've got to go over the chicane. It's not like that in any other car. But yeah, on cold tires, that's a whole treacherous segment of track.
Yeah, it's been pretty relatively clean so far as well, so it's really good to see these guys doing so well on the track.
That front train is pulling out a gap though, and you know they're that's front train of 9 from Leo Ovtcharov to Just Snavely, and
Steve's about 5 seconds back from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that front 9, they are really bunched, and what's great about seeing that pack is any of those names they would never be a surprise seeing them on the podium. So if this holds for the duration of the race and we get a great showdown at the end, I would love to see these 9 drivers really duke it out.
Yeah, wow. So Jason, how do you think about this? Because just like the speed of the field in Sunday Night Skippy is just outrageous now. And is there a limit to this?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was telling a friend of mine a couple days ago. So we have a relatively new member of the league. His name is Andy Thomas, and I was telling him sort of about the history of the league, how it was conceived, and where it sort of naturally took itself over the past 6.5 seasons. We started it really just because Ian and I wanted a clean place to race. The pubs could be a little bit dicey, as we all know, and we were relative beginners at the time. And so we started Sunday Night Skippy so that we could lay down some foundational rules around safety and taking care of each other on the track, rather than every man for himself. And what we noticed is as this community sort of built itself up around us, everybody was very eager to share tips, tricks, ideas. Nobody's holding anything back. We had a number of very quick drivers join the league. Pete Mobrotten, Edwin Valerino, Carl Dronke. They joined late season 1, early season 2, that time frame, and they really helped bring everybody else along. And what we see now is those guys have a lot of competition around them. We can see that on the timing tower right now. A lot of the guys that they are competing with and running neck and neck with are guys a year ago who they were helping to find speed and develop their racecraft. And so it's been fascinating watching that. And as a consequence, the skill in the league has just condensed or fallen upward. But as I say that, it looks like Carl had a little bit of a bobble, lost a position to Gherkin, so they'll be working to catch back up there. But yeah, it's the skill, the difference between P1 and say P20, P30 on a lot of tracks. The qualifying delta there is 1 second, maybe a second and a half, and it's absolutely bonkers because.
Guys, sorry, big news. Leo has gone into the pits. What kind of strategy is that?
Interesting.
Lap 7 as well.
Yeah, that's early. Early.
Really?
Did he get dinged up a little bit? How's his car look?
Don't see any damage there.
I wish Jake Ashe was in here to give us a hand.
We have others also entering the pits. Michael McLeod, Andy Au.
Yeah, and while we're talking about that, Pete McBrotten has taken the lead over here. from Jeffrey Decker. Interesting facts over here in lap 7.
You know, I think the pit window is open, and so we are seeing Jake Ashe, Benjamin Harris, Ray Bartnikowski.
Yeah, a lot of times when somebody ducks in as early as Leo did, like you said, technically the window's open, but what's interesting is he spent a lot of time at the front, so he wasn't necessarily benefiting from a lot of draft. So he might be banking on coming out into traffic. I've been in that situation before where you take a bit of a risk, go in a little early so that you can get away from traffic and you don't want to keep pulling people around the track all day. And so you duck in and you're like, I can stretch this quite a bit, and if I get a couple laps in somebody else's draft, that might be all it takes to bridge the gap. So maybe that's what he's thinking. Pit strategy was never my strong point, so...
Andrew Cole looked like Andrew binned it in the Tosa hairpin and is in tow right now.
All right, guys, I'm going to predict something. I'm going to predict that Peter is going to go in very soon as well. Going to be this lap or next lap. I think he understands what Leo is thinking about.
Yeah, he's usually an early taker.
Look at this! Oh, look at this! He's going into the pit.
Tucker. Yep. It almost looked like Pete was trying to fake out Jeffrey on that. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to do that. You can do that here, and you can also do that really well at Interlagos. I'll never forget Carl Dronke had Connor Tolman, who's a former member of the league, very quick driver, very astute, and Carl had Connor on his heels, and he juked Connor going into the pits, and Connor sort of had a temporary brain meltdown, and he split the difference of his decision and what Carl did, and he ended up running right into the barrier because his mind was like, Carl's doing this, and then his feet and hands did something else, and then he ran square into the wall. Connor was not too pleased with himself.
Leo's coming around, passing Jeffrey Decker, and Pete Morbodden going into the Tamburello chicane.
And Carl Dronke slots into first place with a 2:01.99, setting the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. Now, we have Leo and Pete dicing it up. They're way back in further down positions, but for all intents and purposes, as the pit window closes for the first stop, whereas people get that out of the way, they're effectively fighting for P1. And it was kind of surprising to see them going out a little bit, going through the chicane. We'll see if they
what do you
down.
think behind Pete? Because up there's also Edwin Valerino and Jeffrey Decker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the pack that we have up here.
Loving these cameras moves you've got in here, Pim. They're really awesome.
All right,
He's
so
showing off, mate.
It's like Gurgen Demir is in the
And
pit.
Dronke's in, Wright's in, Nodwell's in, Spencer Clark, Steve Dewar, and JR Hoops, all in the pits.
So now we'll see this train. There's Jack Moffitt, though, in front of Leo Ovtcharov and Pete Morbodden.
Little McMurphy's in.
Edmund Ballerino. They're coming around Ravazza right now.
Yep. Adam's in.
It's really exciting. It's also a little treacherous, because the people will come out in these situations and be kind of meeting up with each other right as they're entering Tamburello.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be. Well, let's see them all coming out. They're all on their way out now. So. And where are we up? Okay, so Ballerino's jumped a bunch of places. He's now in third. Decker's in fourth. Dronke's in fifth. Mike Bowers is in sixth. Michael Howanick's in seventh. Down 2 places. Hume Broughton is now in second. So, are we doing one, do you think? 2 stops today, right?
Yeah, we have 2 stops tonight.
Yeah.
Nice, safe Formula One pit lane entry and exit. So I guess it affords 2 pit stops.
Makes a big difference.
So, about the developmental aspect, Jason, I remember my first season in Sunday Night Skippy. You spent a ton of time with me and with Pim coaching us at this track.
That's right. Yeah.
And really learned a lot because, it's for a newcomer, this is such a fast track. I realize this isn't a track with the fastest corners, but as a newcomer, they felt so fast, and it was like things like Aqua Minerale and so on. Just you really had to learn something about balancing the car with the throttle.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few F1 tracks, in my opinion, that work really well in the Skippy. Now, that said, a lot of people either love it or hate it, and that's largely the product of the chicane. Because of the risk that you have to take in this car, particularly going through the chicane, it sours a lot of people on the track. But that aside, this is what I like to call a teaching track. There's really a lot that you can pick up here. Like you said, you learn how to balance the car through a number of corners. For instance, Leo and Pete are going through 7 or 8 right now, which is really about balancing the car right on an edge so that you can carry as much speed through this left-hand sweeper as you can. And we have that in a number of other corners where Aqua Minerale, you've got some mixed pedal inputs in there to help stabilize the car while keeping it rotating. Basically, you're trying to do all of these contradictory things at the same time. There's a lot to learn here, but this track can also be very frustrating because if you're not doing those things, you're leaving seconds on the table.
Right. Oh, looks like Jonathan Dockery wrecked his car in Tamburello, and he's in tow right now.
So meanwhile, we've got a nice single file with Leo in first, Pete in second, Edwin in third, Jeffrey in fourth, Carl in fifth, a ways back with Mike Bowers right on his heels, and then Michael behind Mike.
Everybody's settling down a little bit now and getting ready to do their second stint through to the next round of pit stops, where there'll be a flurry of activity going into the pits as they all get their last top up on fuel to get them through to the end of the track, end of the race. It's going to be really interesting to see how they work their strategy for that and what they decide to do based on, I guess, how they're running, where they're running on the track.
Yeah, and this is a great time to point out, I think, that we have a bonus structure that greatly incentivizes taking over the lead and accumulating bonus points. And so what I'm not seeing right now is that incentive really kicking in. Leo is relatively new to the league. I don't know what his standings are, but I think Pete Broughton is up there. And because others might not be accumulating those points, he may not feel the pressure to accumulate them and rather hang out in Leo's draft and cut some time off his final pit stop.
Hey, you guys, I'm having a ton of fun watching this group of skippies starting in P22 with Rusty Pottenberg, Chris Herrera, Andy Au, Gregor Klingman, Charlie McCarty, and Dan Pagowski. And they're really going at it. And it looks like Chris Herrera is making a move on Rusty here, drafting on the front straight. But they're staying pretty close to each other and being pretty racy.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fascinating. And you know what's really nice is that the two trains, or in fact most of the all the cars are really still quite close to each other. As Mike Bowers goes off track and comes back on again, losing 2 places. So that puts Leo still in the lead, followed by Pete McGrath and Edwin Ballerino, Jeffrey Decker, Carl Dronke, Michael Howanek, Mike Bowers, Jeff Snavely, Adam Wright, and Pete Nodwell taking up your top 10.
Talking about the track and that Alta chicane, you know it's Imola week in Sunday Night Skippy when half of the Discord chatter is about that chicane.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's really tough. I've gone back and forth. It's fun when you get it right, but it's not realistic. If we took a Skip Barber over that chicane in real life, the way we have to here to be quick, it would shatter. It would just explode into pieces. And it's a real dilemma strategically, because if you don't do it, you're just leaving time on the table. And if somebody else does it, then that kind of forces your hand. This is our third season at Imola, and I don't think it's ever been a question as to whether or not that chicane needs to be taken very, very aggressively. But yeah, you can lose your race real quick if you don't hit it just right.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
It throws you all the way off the track, and you get a slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're too timid and you don't hit it hard enough, then you lose places because everybody else is going much faster than you. It's tough. It's a tough call.
Yeah, for me, I in a way, as I've gotten better, I have also gotten more uncomfortable, with changing the ride height at the front to the extent that you need in order to avoid damage on that chicane. And so it has. I understand now where some of the top guys are coming from when they complain about it.
As we see Howanick, Drunky, and Bowers all come up, slamming across those gerbs, bouncing across, and they're controlling it very nicely, grabbing back over to the left-hand side of the track as they are racing down to the final two corners. Before they get back on the start straight.
But for sure, when I was a rookie, the difference in spring perch offset between +5 and 0, I couldn't really feel it. My driving wasn't refined enough. I wasn't consistent enough that it didn't matter. I feel like now it does matter, and I'm sure for the top guys it matters a lot.
Yeah, the style that I like when I'm driving the Skippy kind of goes out the window once I get down to an SPO of 1, certainly 0. We've got a couple tracks where we've got to run what we call monster truck mode. Montreal is a good example where you've got to get this thing stood up as high as it'll go so that you can clear some of those curbs. But you have to completely change how you approach the car.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is absolutely true.
I guess for those viewers who don't know what spring perch offset is there a simple explanation of what that is?
Yeah, so the spring perch is it's kind of confusing because the lower it is, the higher the car goes, and the higher it is, the lower the car goes. But really what we're doing is we're changing the ride height of the car, and we can do that at the front and at the back. So we can create not just a flat ride height, but we can create positive rake, negative rake. I don't know why you'd ever want to do the latter. But
because we live in an airplane.
Yeah. So yeah, it really just affects the ride height of the car. And the lower the car sits, the lower the center of gravity is, the more responsive the car is. One of the tricks in doing this is it also plays into how you set the anti-roll bar. So there are stiffness settings there. I believe it goes from 0 to 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So as that number goes down, the roll bar gets softer and the car gets a little bit more forgiving.
So Pete, sorry to jump in here. Pete is overtaking Leo on the start-finish line into first place so that he can work on accumulating some of those additional points.
Yeah, and I think Edwin and Jeffrey might be content to just sit there behind them and let those two work things out.
Well, Edwin is in third, Jeffrey's in fourth, right behind Edwin. So again, here's the strategy coming in, right? Because how much fuel are you saving? When do you pit? Where do you want to be physically on the track when you come out of the pit? Like, who do you want around you? So you've got to be thinking about, okay, if I go in the pits now, when I come out, I'm going to be in clean air, I'm going to be near these guys, whatever. And of course, the more you're behind someone drafting on them, the more fuel saving you're doing, the less fuel you need to get, the less time you need in the pits. So you've got to balance all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As I see, Jake Ashe has just been in and out of the pits along with McCormick and Scott Bell.
Right, Gregor Klingman is in the pit. Yeah, just coming out. This lead pack of 4, Pete McBrodin, Leo Oftarov, Edwin Ballerino, and Jeffrey Decker, they pulled out almost a 7-second gap on the next group of Michael Howick, Carl Donkey, and Mike Bowers. So, there's, in a way, they've been really benefiting from working together.
Yeah. But again, this is what we were talking about. If you lose that draft at this track, it's very, very, and they're all going in.
Yeah.
Except for Decker. Decker stays out and goes into first place.
Now, Decker will pick up a point for running at least one lap in the lead. So, I imagine he's probably fairly high up in the season standings, so just picking up that 1 point is probably worth what he just did. Plus, he gets clean air, where he can just kind of air it out for a bit.
And Leo stopped in the pits. Pete stopped. I'm just keeping an eye on them to see where we are. And Edwin stopped. And let's see who's moving. And Pete's moving first. Pete is already out, and now Edwin is moving. Edwin is going to pass Leo. Oh my God, they're fighting in the pit lane for that position.
Oh, wow.
Edwin is right behind Leo now on his gearbox as they exit the pits. Pete has got about, how far has he got? Pete's got about a couple seconds now on Leo as, who's that? Where are we? So I'm losing him now. As Lyndon McMurphy, Chris Herrera go by. So Lyndon McMurphy and Chris Herrera are now between Leo, Edwin, and Pete McBroughton, who is going to be probably in first place when everybody cycles through their pit stops.
Yeah, Pete's got to be licking his chops right now because he doesn't have them in his draft, and so the question is, will Leo and Edwin be able to overcome that difference and sort of leapfrog their way back up? And it'll also be interesting to see where Decker comes out after he does his pit stop. Will he be with Leo or will he be with Pete? Pete has notoriously quick pit stops, so we will see where he falls after he comes out of the pits.
He gained 3 seconds in that pit stop.
And he was drafting for the majority of the race there, so he could have saved quite a bit of fuel.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier. Is he was probably willing to leave some of those laps led points on the table so he could do precisely this. Now he's got a nice gap, but with 10 minutes to go, it'll be interesting to see if Leo and Edwin can leapfrog and work that out. He just had a pretty wide off track coming out the chicane.
Jeffrey Dicker is in the pits right now.
Okay, let's see where he pops out.
Yeah, because we have Pete coming around 13 and 14 and 15, so he'll be coming down the straight. It'll be really interesting to see where.
The Ravazza now.
Yeah.
He's out onto the start-finish line, start-finish straight.
Decker's been released from his pit box.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be buddies, I think.
Has Decker got out yet? He's at the pit exit, along with, and he's come out in front of Pete. No, Pete passes him.
No, Pete's got him. He's no draft, so.
Yeah.
And Leo's closing in on
Decker has now jumped both Leo and Edwin.
Yeah.
So now, can he keep Leo? Because Leo is right behind him. Can he keep Leo behind him and hold that position for second place? That's going to be a hard task.
Yeah, and the three of them are going to have to really cooperate. They've got some tough decisions ahead of them. Do they want to cooperate and do everything they can to try to catch Pete, or have they resigned themselves to a fight for second?
Yeah, second and third. My God. And yeah, so away we go. Here we go. So Adam Wright currently is your race leader, followed by Steve Dewar, Peter Nodwell, J.R. Hoops, Aaron Law, Steve Bell, Pete McBroughton, Jeffrey Decker, Leo Ovecharo, and Edwin Ballerino in 10th.
You know, for a big track like this, just thinking about Pete McBroughton's pit stop and just all the time he gained, he probably, I think as he's apt to do, he probably controlled the amount of fuel very precisely. But that's always, for me, just super scary on a big track like this, because being one lap off is...
Yeah, and it's also difficult to figure how to calculate how much draft you've had.
Leo is going for the overtake, going into turn 16, coming down to Rivasa, and has passed Decker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Edwin is closing on the back of Decker. Decker's pushing hard to see if he can get Leo again, and he's in a really good position if he holds on, that he'll be able to draft past him back up.
Yeah, which is to both of their benefit, all of their benefits. So, you know, the way they're coordinating this is very, very well done. Jeff did very well to stay close to Leo throughout all of that so that he could take the position back. Looks like Edwin's going to take his double draft and go for it.
He's going to go. He's going. Oh, no, he backs it out. He backs it out.
I think they missed a little bit of an opportunity here. It would have been good to see Decker retake that position in an effort to catch back up to Pete. But yeah, to your earlier point, you know, Pete really understanding how to fine-tune his fuel needs. What's always been difficult for me is when you're in and out of the draft for the first few bits of the race, that can really mess with your fuel calculations. A lot of us use software that tells you when you need to pit, when you don't need to pit, and Pete's very happy to override that, and he's done that to great success. I'm not half as smart as he is, so when that software tells me to pit, I do it, and if it doesn't tell me not to, if it doesn't tell me to, then I don't. So.
Well, I have a little bit of PTSD from this because I don't know if you remember, Jason Pimian, but the last time we raced here, I ran out of fuel on the last lap and sputtered, and so I was just off by one on the expected number of laps.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough, and I mean, Pete is now running in clean air, so he's out on his own. There's no one to help him as he hits the curbs very hard, going through the chicane at Variante Alta, and the car is all over the place. Loses him a little bit of time, and Leo is taking advantage. The gap is closing to 1.5.
Yeah, I don't think Pete's going to be able to hold them off. They're a couple draft passes away from being together again. But I don't know. With we have about 9 minutes left in the race, at least, probably 10, 12.
We've got 11 minutes. We're at 36. Sorry, we've got 9 minutes left. Yeah. So Pete, however, is doing a 2:03.65. Leo did a 2:02.46. So Leo is a few tenths faster than Pete on a lap. But Leo again is being pushed very hard by Decker, who is really close to his back tires right now.
Like I was wondering, Sean Tretiak looked like binned the car just as they were coming. The leaders were coming up, but he towed out of the way. You know, I'm also just watching a little further back at around P13. Spencer Clark and Aaron Law just kind of battling around with each other, and they've been really going at it, trading, taking turns, taking P13 as they go around lap by lap. Oh, it looks like Spencer might have had a slowdown. No, they're just they're going at it again, just trading places.
And Steve Dewar and Peter Nodwell are running neck and neck with each other, very, very close to each other as they come down into Acqua Minerale.
One more thing to say about the developmental aspect of the league. Just if I think about my own development, there are some tracks, like the one that's most notable for me is Long Beach, where consistency and
Oh, we have a collision between Decker. Oh no!
It's terrible.
Oh gosh!
Oh no! So Leo, Decker, and Valerino all crash coming out of Ravazza.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm afraid to say that it looks like Jeffrey ran right up into Leo and then picked up Edwin along the way. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Wow.
boy.
So, yeah, Decker's front right wheel just picked up the back of Leo's car, threw him across the road, and then Edwin had nowhere to go and just ran into the back of them.
Well, that should make it pretty smooth sailing for Pete at this point.
Yeah, he's now got a almost 7-second gap over Mike Hownick.
Yeah.
assuming Pete has the fuel to finish the race, it should be okay.
Well, there is that. But now he can back it off. He can do a little lift and coast.
Yeah.
He can really manage his fuel. He hasn't got to worry about pushing all the time.
That's a heartbreaker.
Boy.
Yeah. Well, jumping back to the developmental nature of the league, I actually brought in my good friend here, Andy Thomas. He's in us with the booth. Andy, how long have we known each other?
Oh gosh, 30 plus years, I think.
At least.
At least. Yeah.
Feels like 100.
Yeah.
And I thought you guys were in your 20s.
But yeah, Andy, he just joined the league a couple of weeks ago, and he and I have been working together on the V, which is a great developmental car. And so he's been able to see the league from that fresh perspective, the brand new to the service to the league. So it's been fun.
I've had a ton of fun doing it. I actually got on the service. I mean, it had been
a year ago.
A year ago, but the problem is I really didn't like the MX-5, and then so I just never went anywhere with it. And then Jason got back with me a few months ago, maybe, and said, "Hey, they've got a new rookie car. It's open wheel." And I said, "Okay, I'm in for that." So got on, started learning the car, and was able to join in on a couple of races earlier on in the season when the grid for the V races wasn't super full, and then ran through my rookie license real quick, and have really enjoyed participating. Right now the V grid is a little bit top heavy from the perspective of somebody who's really pretty new and hasn't had a whole lot of time on the service, and so I find myself hot lapping alone at the back of the pack pretty often, but I still have a ton of fun racing and have enjoyed racing everybody else. Everybody's been really great, just letting me kind of learn things as I go and helping me out as they can. So
it's such a good community. It really is.
Well, Andy, I've definitely enjoyed being with you on track in the V's, and so it's, at least I know you're not alone on track all the time. It seems like I see you on track all the time.
Well, there have been a couple of races, especially on the shorter tracks, where I kind of get lapped by everybody because I'm still trying to pick everything up, and I'm kind of a few seconds slower than most people. But I've had some races where I've been able to place higher than last if I can be opportunistic with if there's some incidents that go on ahead of me, if I can pick up a space or two. That seems to be my way of not finishing last. But I have really enjoyed being on track with everybody. Like I said, they've been really great for me as I'm still working on my racecraft, giving me an opportunity to kind of figure out what I'm doing and not crush me if I make a mistake in front of somebody, which I'm really trying not to do. right now I'm kind of in the mode of I really don't want to ruin everybody else's race. So I'm just trying to do the best I can and make sure that everybody else can race clean if they kind of end up near me. So.
Hey guys, I just want to have a look at the field. We still see Leo Oktarov, Jeffrey Decker, and Valentino are still making a lot of fun. It's good racing there on the back on 25th position.
Yeah, normally what happens when you get a wreck like that, what's so cool about this league, we've done it in practice races, we'll do it in the actual Sunday night races. But when somebody wrecks, you all tend to wait until the tow is over so that you're not all just hot lapping alone. So it was nice to see that they all came out of the pits at the same time. I'm sure that's not by accident. They probably coordinated that so that they could at least have a good race, even if it's not for P1 or P2. So
as they go into, and they almost crash again.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, now that relatively speaking, they have nothing to lose. You're gonna see some racing now.
Yeah. They were going into Variante Tamburello, almost 3 wide. Now they're going into Villeneuve 2 wide. Whoa, and they do touch. Decker gets grabbed off the track as he works his way back on.
Yeah, I mean now that
now they're just having fun.
Now they're just having fun.
Yeah, we're not racing anymore.
But there's still something to gain for. Here we see the number 3 position. Jeffrey Snaley, you see Carl Dronke going into the pit. What kind of strategy is that?
I think there's an extra lap here. I'll bet he needed to top off, and this must be the white flag. And Mike Bauer is assuming he has the fuel. He's running P2. He could get a P2 finish.
Oh wow, Michael Houenick had to come in as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuel here is so tough.
Yeah. And it's like these long tracks.
Well, Klingman has only done 1 stop so far. I'm not quite sure how he managed to do that.
But we definitely have a battle brewing for a third between Jeff Snavely and Carl Dronke.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And they've run out of time to try and get second, but it's going to be interesting to see how Carl manages this one.
Yeah, he's biding his time back there.
What? It's going to be a lot about how they get through the chicane.
Yeah.
Watch that, because that's where they're going to lose a whole bunch of time or not on the Variante Alta.
Here
we go. Let's see how it goes.
Good clean pass through there. They both survived.
Yeah. Yep. Carl's still charging down.
Is it just me, or is the exit of that chicane a little more permissive than it used to be? I see a lot of guys going clear into the green padding. That used to be a slowdown.
That's right. They've all been doing that, getting all 4 wheels onto the green. Yep.
Yeah.
But Carl is closer. Is he close enough to draft past over the finish line? The finish line is quite a ways down as Peter Broughton finishes in first. Mike Bowers is in second.
Yeah, they just
and
got
here
it.
we go. He's got. Yes, now. Snavely's in third. Dronke's in fourth. Adam Wright will be passing in fifth. Steve Durr in 6th place. J.R. Hoops in 7th. Podolski in 8th. Pointenberg in 9th. Now I've got Pointenberg as having only 1 stop. Oh, he's out. He must have run out of gas. Yeah, a lot of people going past. Wow, he's run out of gas.
So what we've asked everybody to do here is to not do our customary pile up at the end of the front straight. So we will probably see a lot of these cars line up on the exit of or the runoff of turn 3 to pay their respects to Ayrton Senna because this is where he hit the wall. So
well, that was quite exciting.
That race had a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
Well.
It kept us busy.
It certainly did. It certainly did. Woo!
Boy, it's quite a sight to see all these cars parking here at Tamburello.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds to me like some people ran out of gas, because I'm still seeing quite a few people did this with just one stop. Lyndall McMurphy had only one stop.
Wow.
Demir,
They're
Brian
doing such a
Fred,
good job of this.
Buffett. Yeah, there's quite a few that. I mean, maybe my system is wrong. Which,
Pim, are you able to show the runoff of turn 3?
Yeah. We're currently looking at the results, but if I get rid of those.
I mean, this is just such a great sight to see.
You look at all these cars parked there.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could probably, if you put the car on, yeah.
wow, look at them all.
Look
there.
at that.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Let's see if I get a better view from the blimp. Oh, the
Yeah.
blimp is a great view.
Yeah, the blimp view on Pete Mulbraden at him is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's everybody's sitting there revving away. Final salute before they bail for the
Yeah,
evening.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wonder how many of them are just running out of gas as they're sitting there.
They won't be able to provide their 1 liter of fuel to the stewards.
Actually, that's what we should do. Is like all the people that did one stop, just disqualify them all. You know. Sorry, we needed legal fuel.
Poor Vettel.
That did suck, didn't it? Oh my god.
Yes, it did. That was just. I'm not even a Vettel fan, but that was brutal.
Oh my goodness me. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed that race.
Yeah.
I am
All
so
right.
happy that you guys were here because this is just amazing. There were too much things to look at. It's funny to see who won eventually, but interesting results. Pete was running the whole time already great, and yeah, then he has the luck a little bit. But we saw some nice fights. I'm curious about the next race.
Well,
I think the next race is on a track that feels pretty similar, except it doesn't have the monster truck chicane, but it's another really big F1 track, the Nürburgring GP layout, and it's another about a over 2 minute long lap, big laps, and something that really rewards speed, and I'm scared. Looking forward to it. Just watching this.
So, do we have any people in the booth? I do expect Pete is most of the times his whole family is watching. I'd love to hear from him how he.
We have Pete and Mike. Yeah. Who do you guys want first?
I want Pete. I want to know what he saw from that accident.
get him in there. Get him in there.
He's here.
Hey Pete, how's it going? Good win.
It's going pretty well at the moment. I'm confused, but content.
So I'm going to jump in real ahead of the line. I got to know about your pit strategy.
Yeah. Yep. It was. Normally, it's a little bit of a chess game. Juggling the, fuel saving versus getting those extra points for the laps versus dealing with track position. Tonight, I was just hanging on for dear life, to be honest. Every time it came around that final corner, I could not get closer than 0.4 to Leo. He had so much pace. The only reason I was able to hold on was for that draft. At that point, I'm looking at the drivers behind me, Leo ahead of me. If I passed him, I'm going to slow us all down. 3-4 tenths on that lap. That's not good for anyone. So, focused on the fuel saving, Tried to get a jump and it managed to work out, and then I got a slowdown. As I, after the second pit stop, I thought, well, that's it. These guys are going to catch me. They can easily leapfrog, no problem, and they've got raw pace on me anyway. And then they just kind of weren't there. So I'm now very confused, but thankful.
Well, you were lucky, mate. They all crashed coming out of Ravazza.
Yeah, there's a little touchy back there, and it didn't work out well. So
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I was trying to call it live, thinking maybe a slowdown, and then all three of them dropped. I was like, well, okay.
But masterful pit strategy, as always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that worked out much better than I expected.
Yeah, you got.
How close were you cutting it on fuel? Because you leapt ahead like by about 3 seconds on that second pit stop.
The fuel cut out at exactly the apron at the Senna Memorial.
Wow. Pretty close.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad I took that little extra. I figured I should take a little extra toot. I figured I'd probably get caught and I'd spend some time back in draft, so it would be okay, but maybe just a little extra for safety. And it was a good thing I did, because that would have been really interesting otherwise.
Yeah, we're just showing the replay of what happened right behind you, where Jeffrey's front right just clipped into the back of Leo's car coming out of Varialta, and sent both of them flying and spinning right into the path of Edwin, who had nowhere to go, and just ran into them.
Yeah, I haven't got there yet, but thanks for the spoilers. Yeah, it's unfortunate that's not how you want to win, but at this point, I'll take anything I can get with this field. It's crazy.
Win, right? Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness me! Well, that was a brilliant race to watch. We really enjoyed the dicing. What was your strategy as you were going around? Because we were all sort of saying, hey, do you sit in second and try and benefit from the draft, which gives you a faster pit stop because you need less fuel? Do you more want the points because you get your extra points per lap? What was going through your head as you were trying to figure out where you wanted to be?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned a little bit earlier, Leo's pace just made it really difficult for me. I wasn't on that kind of form. So in order to pass him and challenge for the points, I knew that was going to slow the whole pack down. So it became the fuel saving game and then risk mitigation. So in that situation, I prefer to be P2, P3, just because, things happen, such as the things that happened. And you want to be ahead of that, right? So the fewer cars that are ahead of you, the lower your odds. It's all about, trying to promote an advantageous percentage of success. And the fewer cars are ahead of you that you can have and still, put in your laps with the fuel strategy, the better. So it actually worked out pretty much exactly how I was hoping. Once I conceded that, hey, you know what, probably leading laps isn't going to work out for me. I don't have the pace. So that P2, P3, the whole race was kind of what I was going for.
Right. And do you think about where you're going to come out when you pit? Is that part of your consideration?
Yep. So I use the RaceLab app's flat map, which gives me a projection, a rough estimate projection of where I'm going to come out in the field. And I will occasionally, the two big things I'm going to make decisions on is I want to clear pit entry, because that is something I drill pretty well. I can often make up a few tenths just standing there on its nose right at that pit line, which I can't really do if there's a car ahead of me. I have to leave a safety margin. And then, yes, I am looking at, how big of a gaggle am I going to dump out into, and that RaceLab app's flat map gives me that.
Nice. And before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs for anybody?
Once again, just to Mrs. Pete and Micro Pete, they got to watch last weekend, on the big screen, and it was the talk of the conversation of the dinner table this whole week. My wife didn't realize it was like that there's a broadcast, and, in her words, that she could watch it on the comfy couch and the big screen, and it was like an actual race. Her words, right? So that was pretty cool. I'm really thankful to you guys as well for providing that kind of experience, and them for letting me play with my toys.
So that means we have some extra viewers daily of a weekly extra from your family?
In general, I think that's what that means.
Awesome.
Well, I would like to give a shout out to Mrs. Pete. Hello, Mrs. Pete. And to Micro Pete. G'day, mate.
All right. Well, we have
and of
some.
course to you guys as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Pete. We do have some other people in our booth. We have Mike Bowers. Mike, how are you doing? How was your race? Is Mike still muted?
No,
Get a mic check.
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, let's do a mic check. Yeah.
Go once.
Nope, he's gone again. Mike is shy, and he's back.
Yeah, it does it every time. What up, gangsters?
Hey, Mike, how you doing, mate?
I don't know. That was such a crap race I just drove. I was a bloody mess. I owe Carl an apology. I was trying to work with him when he and I were together, and I don't know. Again, you've heard me say it before. I suffered from some cranial rectitis and messed up a couple corners and brought somebody else into the pack. And what happened? It was a chaos. I was due for a 10th place finish, and I'm second. How did it happen? I don't know.
I was just thinking, I've never heard somebody complain so much on a second spot. You did an excellent race.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kept it on track, and sometimes that does a good job, huh?
Well, that's very true. I mean, that you did benefit from a little bump and grind ahead of you, but
yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see it while you were racing?
Well, I saw the pile, but I'm really curious. I'm loading the replay right now because I am crazy curious to see what they did. I have a feeling I know what happened, and yeah, I hope it isn't. But anyway, what do you guys see? Talk to me. Pete won. Congratulations, Pete. Gee, there's something new. Trophy room's gonna have to enlarge the trophy room, you jackbag.
It was at that awkward moment Mike realized they're keeping everyone in the booth at the same time.
No, I saw you in there. I knew you were here. I'm blunt, brash, and ugly, so there we go. But good job, dude.
Yeah. No, it was a good race you drove. I mean, like you said, there were some interesting points, but you kept it going. You kept it on the track. You kept up. What was your strategy as you were thinking about these two pit stops? I mean, or were you just kind of listening to your computer systems tell you what to do?
That's what I did.
Okay, in total honesty, I thought I had everything all lined out to be automatic this race because I've bounced back and forth from doing my own calculations and trying to use JRT and all that. Well, I thought I had the auto thing set right, so I was like, I'm just going to let it do its thing. I don't care. Well, long story short, I took a full fuel load on the second stop, so.
Oh, wow.
And, sometimes the long stoplight's a blessing in disguise, right? You're held there and miss the wreck. Well, maybe that long pit stop is why I didn't get piled up in the wreck, so whatever.
Could be. Could well be.
Yeah, I'll try to look at the shiny side.
There you go. But I'll tell you, it was fun watching you guys dicing it out there, and from a viewer perspective, it was very enjoyable.
Well, good. I'm glad it was, and like I said, I'm looking forward to watching it back. It's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward. Who cares what I did? I gotta skip back. So I got a buddy that just joined the league in SF2. And he's trying to make it into the interview booth, but he's about as talented with Discord as I am. But Scott Allen raced the SF2 race. And what do you know? That ugly dog ended up winning one. How do you do that? I know, but it's pretty cool. Scott and I have been friends for a very, very long time, since we were about 13 years old. And Scotty and I did some karting together and stuff like that. And he's a big, ugly, lovable doof. But anyway, the doof won a race.
Well,
Tim and I had the pleasure of calling that race, and Scott was fast right out of the gate there. It was good. I think there was a little bit of misfortune that had befallen Chris Daniel.
Big time. He was gone.
Yeah, but Scott was just just so fascinating. It was a great new addition.
Yeah, and I was trying to get him into the interview booth and embarrass him as best I could. So I'm trying to do the best I can here. But yeah, it's kind of funny. He hasn't even been iRacing very much for about a year. He just got his rig put together, and I told him you ought to try to race, and I might regret that. That silly son of a gun might end up running us down.
Well, I'll tell you, he's got his work cut out to him. That new guy Leo, he's a little swift, is young Leo.
Actually,
yeah, he's quick.
That brings up something that we were talking about during the broadcast. Just the sort of, it's not an arms race exactly, but just how everyone in this league is just getting so fast, and the level of improvement. And we were just looking at the top 20 qualifiers for tonight's race, and it was just crazy. I think the top 20 were all in the 204s, 203s.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah.
And it's silly in the best of ways, and Pete's alluded to this, and Pete, you made your own problems, dude, because you were helping people coach other people, and you've been on the horn about how you drive, and guess what? You got some competition now, Holmes.
Yeah, thanks for that. I've been questioning my series of life decisions that got me for some time.
But yeah, I mean, that's what's cool, though, because you don't want to run away from every race and be super fast like Leo. How embarrassing to be that fast, right? You want to get back there and struggle with the rest of us. But, Pete's done a good job, and everybody else in the league, at trying to share and trying to get people faster and trying to use their full race head. And I haven't looked at this accident, so I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth, but most people do, and they race super well, and it's bloody enjoyable and a surprise every week.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the broadcast, just how the league has evolved over 7 seasons, and it started off with, a couple guys like Pete and Carl and Edwin, helping the others wrap their heads around what it takes to be quick and how to race smart. And 7 seasons later, you've got 30 people that can do exactly that, and it's incredible to watch the races.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
do you have any shout outs you need to give out, mate?
Well, I already talked about Scotty, and it's pretty cool. I wish he could get in here. He's a really good guy, but just you guys in the league, it's super cool that everybody keeps doing what they're doing, and all the stewards and you league admins for working. Jason, I know he puts a ton of time, and Chris and Jeffrey and Joshua. It's a full load to do this kind of thing, and it's fun. It's good. I appreciate the camaraderie, and it's a good place to land on a Sunday night.
Yeah, it really is, and we have a ton of help. So on that note, thanks to all the stewards, Pete, Peter Nodwell, Jeffrey Decker, Carl Dronke. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. And then, of course, Ian and Chris. We've got a huge team around this at this point, and everybody's really dedicated to putting a good product forward. So,
yeah, and hopefully it gets better and better all the time. So, looking forward to all the new stuff we're going to do.
Yep. Well, good job. You've had me here too long because I'm driving you nuts, so I'm going to fire myself and let you guys get on with it. But congratulations, Pete. You did a great job. Way to hammer down, and you're leading that championship by a little bit.
Yeah, that created a little bit of a buffer.
Everywhere, man. Yeah, keep it up.
Well, that's how I got married, so.
All right, that was an awesome look inside the drivers and see how they do these things. Andy, first time in the booth, I thought it was a great success. What do you thought of this race?
Oh, I thought it was great. It was such a shame to see those three racing for second. To see that, to see that wreck, that was such a shame. But a lot of good stuff in that race, and I had fun here in the booth as well. So thanks for letting me tag along and be a part of this too. That was a lot of fun.
No, that's definitely fun. I think for now here we're friends. When I'm gonna see you in the V race, I'm gonna be your worst enemy. I'm defending really hard. So That's going to be a fun race on Thursday. I know, Ian, we have changed it, but are you going to broadcast that one?
Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to broadcast it on Thursday. I think that in the summer I do some volunteering on a Thursday night, but I think this Thursday I will not be out, so I should be able to do the broadcast.
No, I think we just hear you volunteer for the broadcast, so that is settled. I'm happy to hear that because I'm racing that race and I would love to see some more people joining that. Our league is getting quite full, so if you have nothing to do on Thursday, I would definitely invite you to join us in the Formula V. Jason, any last comments from your side?
Yeah, I'll just echo that. If you're looking for a way to break into the league, we've spent the last hour or so talking about how condensed the skill is in SF1. If you're looking for a way to get into the league in a more relaxed atmosphere than that, the V series is a great way to do that. It's a little more relaxed, not nearly as cutthroat. Not that SF1 is cutthroat, but the skill is definitely condensed toward the top there, and that can be intimidating. And the V series is the opposite of intimidating. It's much more relaxed. There's not really any emphasis on a season championship or anything like that. We've got some reverse grids thrown in there just to keep the racing tight, and we have a lot of fun. So if it's a car that interests you, if the league interests you, that's a really good place to dip your toes in.
Yeah, and there is a broadcast, so everything to play for. I really enjoyed that as well. Peter, any thoughts about this race or about our Sunday?
Well, this is the second time I kind of gave myself what I thought would be a healthy break from SF1, and now both times I regret it. It's just you watch the race and you realize, man, it would have been much more fun to just be out there, and so it was just so much fun. But it was great to be in the booth with all of you and just watch some great racing.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for being here. It's our third broadcast from CAF OK Racing this Sunday. So I'm also pretty tired on it. Happy to be here, but it was an awesome race. Would like to thank everybody who watched. I hope Chris Smurl is coming back from the hurricane seasons over there, and that he can broadcast next time. But I had a lot of fun up here. So great broadcast. Thanks very much for joining, and we see you next week.